Here are the top stories this hour. 160 killed by al-shabaab militants in Ethiopia. 31 killed in explosion at abandoned mine in South Africa. 17 killed in Congo's fatal accident. Welcome to the World News on VOP TV. I am Kayla Abraham. Now, more than 167 Ethiopian soldiers have been killed in an ambush by militants of the al-shabaab in western Somalia. Surviving Ethiopian soldiers had been captured and the advance of Ethiopian troops had been stopped, and militants also destroyed Ethiopian military equipment and seized a large number of weapons. The Ethiopian media reported that the Ethiopian Armed Forces and the African Union Transition Mission in Somalia have not yet commented on the attack. The Ethiopian military tried to strengthen its forward operating base in the town of Lled, which has been under militants' control for almost a decade. The al-shabaab terrorist group is an armed group affiliated with al-Qaeda terrorist network and has claimed responsibility for many terrorist operations that have killed hundreds of people in Africa. The armed groups reportedly attacked government troops and peacekeeping forces of the African Union in Mogadishu, the capital of Somalia, and in other parts of the country, and has carried out several brazen operations in other parts of Africa as well. Since July 2022, the Somali government forces have conducted military operations against the al-shabaab group in cooperation with armed tribesmen. Now, at least 20 persons have died in South Africa after a major road accident in the northern province of Limpopo. The victims, believed to be minors, were on a bus which crashed head-on with a truck. They were being transported to one of the biggest diamond mines in the country, Venetia, owned by the mining giant De Beers. Venetia, near the borders with Botswana and Zimbabwe, accounts for more than 40% of South Africa's annual diamond production. Now, 18 civilians and 1 soldier have been killed in attacks by militia group in the western Congo, where sectarian violence has fled since June 2022. The government spokesman Patrick Muyaya, during a government cabinet meeting earlier today, disclosed the civilians were killed in the village of Finau in Kumvula, around 190 kilometers southeast of the capital Kinshasa, allegedly by Mombodo militia. He also stated that 1 soldier had also been killed and another was still missing along the 18 civilians killed, adding that the village had been burned. Now, Congolese authorities say the toll could rise as rescuers sift through mud and rubble of collapsed homes. Authorities disclosed that at least 17 persons have been killed in a landslide in the northwestern Democratic Republic of Congo caused by torrential rains, warning that the death toll could rise as rescuers sift through mud and the rubble of collapsed homes. According to Mathieu Mo, president of the civil society organization Forces Vibes, the disaster took place on Sunday along the Congo River in the town of Liso in Mongala province. The victims lived in homes that were built at the foot of a mountain. Governor Cesar Limbaya Mbagsiga stated that machinery was desperately needed to help clear away the debris and try to save any survivors. The governor offered his condolences to the victims' families and decreed 3 days of mourning throughout the province. United Nations climate experts stated that poverty and poor infrastructure have made communities in such areas more vulnerable to extreme weather such as heavy rains, which are becoming more frequent and intense in Africa due to climate change. Now, many people in Tuscany got a nasty scare when they were woken up by an earthquake whose epicenter was 3 kilometers from the province of Florence town of Maradi. The National Institute of Geophysics and Volcanology disclosed that the quake struck in the morning on Monday and had a 4.8 magnitude. People in Maradi took the streets due to fears that buildings might collapse. At the time of writing, there were no reports of injuries or major damage. The quake was also felt in parts of the neighboring region of Emilia-Romagna, especially the province of Forlì-Cesena and Ravenna. Now, China has sent 103 warplanes toward Taiwan over the past day in what the island's defense ministry disclosed was a daily record in recent times. The defense ministry of the island nation noted it also detected 9 naval vessels of the People's Liberation Army around Taiwan. The ministry disclosed on X that some 40 other detected Chinese aircraft crossed the median line of the Taiwan Strait or entered Taiwan's southeast RDs, referring to the Air Defense Identification Zone. China neither recognizes the median line nor others. It noted the Taiwanese armed forces monitor the situation and tasked CAP combat air patrol aircraft, Navy vessels, and land-based missile systems to respond to these activities. In April, Taiwan mentioned that the Chinese military sent 91 warplanes towards the island in a 24-hour period. China considers Taiwan as its breakaway province, while Taipei has insisted on its independence since 1949. Meanwhile, the disappearance of Chinese Defense Minister Li Shangfu has highlighted the opaque and complex nature of the People's Liberation Army. It was reported on Friday that Li is under investigation over the corrupt procurement of military equipment during his previous role. 8 other senior officials are also being investigated. His fate has not been officially explained. In this Chinese system, the Minister of National Defense is seen as significantly less powerful than the U.S. Defense Secretary and many international equivalents. The position is essentially a diplomatic and ceremonial role without a direct command function. Even so, Li is among the 6 military officials on the Commander-in-Chief and President Xi Jinping on the core Central Military Commission and is one of 5 state councillors, a post outranking a regular cabinet minister. Now, Ukraine has reclaimed territories in the east and the south of the country as part of Kiev's counteroffensive against Russia. Ukrainian Deputy Defense Minister Hanna Maliar disclosed this on Telegram on Monday. She stated that Andrivka and Kivka were liberated from Russian occupation along Bakhmut axis over the past week. The Deputy Minister highlighted a decrease in combat intensity over the past week in the Kupiansk and Liman directions as the Russians didn't conduct any assault operations in those regions. In the south, Malaya stated that Ukrainian forces continue to conduct offensive operations in the Melitopol direction and that the Russians are on the defensive in the Zaporizhzhia and Kherson region. She added that Ukrainian forces reclaimed 5.2 square kilometers of territory. Now, Iran's blocked assets in South Korea will be fully handed over to the government and the nation today, adding that the prisoner swap will also be done today. Foreign Ministry spokesman Nasser Kanani made the announcement during his press conference on Monday. Kanani noted that the process of implementing the agreement regarding the unblocking of Iran's assets in South Korea and the issue of prisoner exchange has progressed at an acceptable speed. He disclosed that the exchange of prisoners will be done today, adding that 5 Iranian prisoners will be released from American prisons. He added that 2 of the citizens will enter Iran based on their request and their interest, and 1 of them will be transferred to a third country due to the presence of his family there. Kanani also noted that 5 citizens imprisoned in Iran will also be freed. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has asked Tesla CEO Elon Musk to build a Tesla factory in Turkey. It cited Musk as saying that many Turkish suppliers are already working with Tesla and that Turkey was among the most important candidates for its next factory. Tesla did not immediately respond to requests for comment. Erdogan and Musk were speaking during a meeting at Turkish House, a skyscraper near the United Nations in New York. Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan also asked Tesla CEO to build a Tesla factory in Turkey. The country's communications directorate disclosed this. U.S. military officials are scrambling to find an F-35B Lightning II fighter jet that disappeared over the skies of South Carolina early on Monday morning. According to U.S. reports, a mishap caused an unnamed Marine Corps pilot to abandon his aircraft over the southeastern state. The airbase confirmed that the pilot parachuted out and was ejected safely. Now, South Korea will expand the number of spots for water testing amid concerns over the release of nuclear waste from Japan's crippled Fukushima power plant. South Korean Oceans Minister Cho Seung-wan stated the Seoul plans to raise the number of testing spots to nearly 250 next year. It was reported that about a month ahead of Tokyo's release of treated radioactive water from the Fukushima plant in August, South Korea had begun emergency radiation tests and samples from a total of 75 coastal locations in the east, west, and south of South Korea, as well as waters of the southern island of Jeju. The minister stated that Seoul is also conducting radiation tests in 33 points from more than distant areas. Tokyo began releasing the nuclear waste on August 24, triggering a sharp reaction from China and opposition parties in South Korea. Beijing has imposed a blanket ban on imports of seafood from Japan. Today, the Chinese embassy in Tokyo has refuted claims that Beijing had refused to join the International Atomic Energy Agency's International Monitoring Mechanism. Early this month, Seoul warned it will take Japan to the UN if Tokyo does not follow its original plan about releasing the treated radioactive water from its crippled Fukushima nuclear power plant. The warning came after Seoul called for a discussion on the potential impact on the marine environment, while Japan ignored the call. Now, trucks with humanitarian aid have entered Azerbaijan's breakaway region of Nagorno-Karabakh after Armenian separatists and the central government agreed to use roads linking it to Armenia and Azerbaijan. Armenia has accused Azerbaijan of fueling a humanitarian crisis in Nagorno-Karabakh after Baku last year blocked the sole road linking the mountainous region with Armenia, the Lakhine corridor policed by Russian peacekeepers. Azerbaijan has rejected the accusation, arguing Nagorno-Karabakh could receive all the supplies it needed via Azerbaijan. Baku has disclosed that the separatist authorities had simply refused its proposal to simultaneously reopen the Lakhine corridor and the Agdam road, which connects Nagorno-Karabakh with the rest of Azerbaijan. Now, President of France has disclosed that France's envoy to Niger is living like a hostage in the French embassy and accused military rulers of blocking food deliveries to the mission. President Macron Emmanuel disclosed this to reporters in French town of Samour-el-Azouar, that the ambassador is living off military ration. Niger's military leaders told French ambassador Sylvain Ité he had to leave the country after they overthrew President Mohamed Bazoum on July 26. But a 48-hour ultimatum for him to leave issued in August passed with him still in place as the French government refused to comply or to recognize the military regime as legitimate. The coup has been condemned by France and most of Niger's neighbors. Macron stated that the envoy cannot go out. His persona non grata and he is being refused food. When asked whether France would consider bringing him home, Macron disclosed that he would do whatever is agreed with President Bazoum because he is the legitimate authority and he speaks with him every day. Foreign Minister Catherine Colonna later said that the ambassador is working and will stay at his post for as long as Paris wished. Now, police detectives in Kajiado are investigating a case in which a man waylaid his brother and stabbed him to death on Sunday. Kajiado North Sub-County Police Commander Abduba Hussein stated that the incident happened early morning on Sunday when the suspect confronted his brother with a knife. Hussein stated that the deceased Peter Kinthua was taken to Nkong Sub-County Hospital by two of his friends, but was pronounced dead on arrival at the facility. The officer commanding police division told reporters that around 7 a.m. on Sunday, the deceased brother, who is a suspect in the case, arrived at the house while armed with a kitchen knife and started confrontations. The incident took place in the Kichachi slum of Hong Kong. Area Chief George Kimemia told reporters that the suspect is a known criminal in the area. Kimemia disclosed that the suspect before Sunday morning, where he killed his brother, was being trailed by the Directorate of Criminal Investigations for having almost killed another person in June this year in the same slums. The chief also revealed that the suspect has two houses where he pays rent in Kichagi and Matharik slums, which are both in Hong Kong. The police said that the suspect fled after the incident on Sunday morning. Chief Kimemia confirmed that the suspect is indeed a known crook who has instilled fear in those close to him, including his grandmother, who lives in Kichagi. He stated that the suspect has a network and knows what is happening in the two slum areas. The OCPD disclosed that the scene of the attack was visited by the DCI officers from Hong Kong town and later documented. He noted that the body has been moved to Kikyu mortuary and is awaiting post-mortem. Now, Zimbabwe aims to tap into the lucrative $3 trillion halal global markets by leveraging Malaysia's strategic position. Halal refers to actions and behaviors permissible in Islam, including the production of halal foods under the guidelines set by the Halal Food Authority. Halal markets trades in halal meat and other foodstuffs prepared according to these principles. Malaysia, with its booming halal markets valued at approximately $68.4 billion in 2018, presents an opportunity for Zimbabwe to boost its export earnings. Zimbabwe's ambassador to Malaysia, Constance Kemwai, highlighted the increasing global demand for halal products, expressing optimism about Zimbabwe's potential for success in this sector. Zimtrade, the country's export trade promotion body, is participating in an exhibition in Malaysia where 4 Zimbabwean companies are showcasing their product. These companies are displaying horticultural produce such as chilies, macadamia, nuts, beans, peas, teas, coffees, herbal products, and mazo, a popular beverage. Malaysia's halal market was valued at $68.4 billion in 2018 and is projected to reach $113.2 billion by 2030. Kemwai explained that being halal compliant goes beyond adhering to Islamic law. It also requires producers to meet global standards and principles for product safety. At least 3 members of a Greek rescue team and 3 members of a Libyan family have died in a road collision. These rescuers were among a team who were traveling on a bus to the flood-ravaged city of Derna on Sunday when their vehicle collided with the car carrying the family. 2 others in the car and 8 others on the bus were seriously injured. An investigation has been launched. Othman Abjelal, health minister in the administration that runs the east of the country, told a press conference that the team had been traveling from the eastern city of Benghazi when this crash happened. He put the death toll at 4, but Greece's armed forces reported 3 dead and 2 missing. Libya splits between 2 rival governments, a UN-backed administration based in the capital Tripoli and a rival Egyptian-supported authority based in Benghazi. The Greek authorities stated that a bus carrying medical personnel collided with a vehicle moving in the opposite direction and reported that 3 members of Greece's humanitarian mission had died and 2 were missing. They added that it wasn't clear what exactly had happened and that it was looking into the incident in cooperation with Libya while an operation was underway to repatriate their personnel. A diplomatic source had told Greek journalists that 16 members of the team were Greek rescuers and 3 were interpreters. They were on their way to join teams already on the ground from other countries, including France and Italy. Thousands of persons were killed when 2 dams above Dana broke during a powerful storm a week ago. The UN says the death toll so far stands at some 11,300. More than 10,000 more remain officially missing. Now, the main liberal opposition political movement in Egypt has stated that it won't nominate a candidate in the presidential election due next year after one of its leaders was sentenced to 6 months in prison. The Free Current Coalition noted that Hisman Kassem had been a potential presidential candidate. He was found guilty of slander and verbally assaulting a police officer. His supporters say the charges were politically motivated. President Abdul Fattah al-Sisi is expected to announce he is standing for a 3rd term, but has yet to do so. The only person to have announced his candidacy so far, Ahmed al-Tantawi, has said his team has faced increasing harassment by the security forces. Now, the government in Congo's Brazzaville has denied reports of an attempted coup against President Denis Sassou Nguesso, who has been in power for 39 years. It follows rumors on social media that the military had been trying to oust the 79-year-old leader, who is currently in the U.S. attending a UN summit with other world leaders. The government's website also posted a statement denying the coup attempt reports. There has been a wave of coup across Africa in recent months, mostly recently in neighboring Gabon, where the military seized power in August. Sassou Nguesso rose to power in the oil-producing Central African country in a military coup in 1979. He lost Congo's first multi-party elections in 1992, but regained power in 1997 after a civil war. The Congolese leader is the 3rd longest-serving president in Africa, after Equatorial Guinea's Teodoro Obiang Nguema and Cameroon's Paul Biya. And that is all the world news on VOP TV. VOP Business Show coming up next. I am Kayla Abraham.